It's like a to-do list of things we're not gonna do.
Want to make your next visit to BK a good one for you and the employees? Then when you're in line at your local Burger King, please resist the urge to do these 15 no-nos. You'll be glad you didn't. These are things you should not do at Burger King.
They're going to start at McDonald's.
Don't order a Big Mac or anything else served at McDonald's.
Dude, this is a Wendy's restaurant.
Okay, so it's lunchtime. Let's say one day you happen to walk into your local Burger King and you're preoccupied with work, life, whatever. You make your way over to the cashier and without hesitation, you order your all-time favorite fast food burger, a Big Mac. Suffice it to say, the first thing you'll hear, after looks of confusion, will be, "Pardon?" or, "That's McDonald's." Believe it or not, this actually happens more often than you might think. While the fast food burger chains do share many similarities, there should be no doubt when stepping into a Burger King that you're in, well, Burger King.
I was wondering if you can give me directions to Burger King.
Now, there may be a select few out there that simply have no idea about fast food, as unlikely as that may sound, and are only familiar with a famous fast food item from ads. However, if this is an attempt at humor, the only laughter you'll hear is from the other customers after the BK employee rolls their eyes and urges you to make a real order. While Burger King and McDonald's may have a fast food burger chain rivalry equivalent to Coca-Cola versus Pepsi, confusing a menu item will not result in you being thrown out of your local Burger King. However, it's just plain rude, not funny, and will result in you looking like a fool. In fact, if you're extremely unlucky, your cashier may proceed to insult you as you try to leave the restaurant discreetly with a shred of dignity. So make sure you're well aware of what's on the menu and leave the jokes to the stand-up comedians. Don't mention the horse meat scandal.
We don't speak of this to anyone.
There isn't a fast food joint out there that hasn't dealt with at least a bit of controversy. Whether it's something big like a supposed finger in the Wendy's chili or a case of a cup of hot McDonald's coffee being too hot, chances are if you're a fast food franchise, you've dealt with controversy. Burger King is no exception, and back in 2013, the king of burgers had to deal with a scandal as big as a horse. Literally. Over in Europe, Burger King's Whoppers and other burgers were contaminated with trace amounts of horse meat. Suffice it to say, this was the last thing customers were expecting after taking a bite of their favorite burger, and it took time for BK to recover.
I'm done selling horse meat.
Unfortunately for Burger King, most fast food fans are well aware of this scandal and other bouts of controversy associated with their favorite joint. But luckily, since the incident was isolated, customers will forgive and forget. However, this does not mean that those same customers won't be tempted to mention it while in the restaurant. Whatever the circumstances were that led to the scandal, it doesn't matter. It happened, and most folks have moved on. So let's not remind fellow customers and BK staff of the horse meat incident. They've lived it and would like to forget about it. Oh, and no, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse while waiting for your Whopper either. That might still be in bad taste.
Just eat your burger.
Don't ask silly questions.
There are no stupid questions, just stupid people.
Have you ever heard someone say,
There are no stupid questions.
"Sure, who hasn't?" These words are usually spoken to put folks' minds at ease who would otherwise be too embarrassed or uncertain to ask a question that might be considered, well,
You stupid.
if you happen to work or have ever worked at Burger King, you'll know that's not exactly the case, and there are definitely stupid questions. For Burger King employees, being asked foolish questions happens more often than it should. It's not unusual for a BK cashier to hear something like, "Do you guys sell burgers here?" No, this isn't a joke, and yes, this question actually gets asked at a fast food chain with burger in its name. This question is especially foolish given the fact that the chain is also one of the biggest and most widely known burger chains in the world.
There are definitely stupid questions.
Other questions, such as, "Is there bacon in the bacon cheeseburger?" and "Do you guys still sell Whoppers?" are questions that BK staff have been asked over the years, and they're expected to respond to these queries as politely as possible, all while holding in laughter or keeping a neutral expression on their face. Whether the folks that come into their local Burger King asking these questions are being genuine or engaging in some good old-fashioned trolling is beside the point. Perhaps think before you get ready to ask a question the next time you're wondering if BK has taken the McChicken off the menu.
There will be no questions. Are there any questions?
Don't order the onion rings from a BK in New Mexico.
I'm actually eating the onion part of my onion ring.
Onion rings are a beautiful thing. The idea that anything could rival French fries was somewhat laughable until one day some culinary fast food genius decided to batter and then deep fry sliced rings of onion. The result? One of the greatest sides in fast food history. While the crispy deliciousness of onion rings is widely known, almost none of the major burger chains have the golden rings on their menu. However, Burger King took it upon itself to make sure that onion rings were on its menu. Yes, customers have been pairing their Whoppers with onion rings for years at BK, and the burger-loving public couldn't be happier. However, be warned if you happen to find yourself in a New Mexico Burger King and are served cold onion rings, as asking for a fresh hot stack could result in a bad day.
Onion ring attack! Dad!
This was the case for a New Mexico resident named Robert Diap in 2013. The man entered his local Burger King and ordered a batch of BK onion rings. Diap was not pleased when his order of onion rings was cold, so the customer approached the manager to complain. Allegedly, Diap's cold onion rings complaint resulted in the manager speaking to another employee in Spanish about what he was about to do to Diap's meal after the customer asked for his food to be reheated.
What's Spanish for I know you speak English?
This angered Diap, who understood what the manager had said, which resulted in Diap asking for a refund. The incident ended with the BK manager attacking Diap with a switchblade and taser, because why use only one deadly weapon when you have two hands? The New Mexico police arrested the manager. Keep this in mind the next time you have a hankering for some of those BK crispy golden onion rings.
Bring a gun to a knife fight.
Don't laugh when BK staff tells you you rule.
I don't think that's how you're supposed to greet a customer.
Burger King, the past few years haven't been kind to Burger King. A steady decline in sales, losses in the millions, and the closing of several locations caused the once mighty burger chain to shake things up. The famous burger chain has implemented a series of big changes to bring the king of burgers back to its throne. Besides making the iconic Whopper the crown jewel of the franchise, Burger King wants its customers to know just how important they are. You Rule is Burger King's latest effort to make its customers' BK experience not only special, but also let the customers know that the restaurant fully appreciates them. When you visit your local BK, every employee will make sure to let you know that you rule before you leave to enjoy your meal. This is all thanks to BK focusing on customers and making sure they know that this is all about them.
Let's get their money!
As fun as this is, having your cashier assure you that you, in fact, rule may come as jarring or even kind of funny. However, this isn't a joke. This is mandatory. All employees are instructed to say this, and it would be pretty rude if someone were to laugh after hearing these pleasant words. However, there have been incidents where BK customers have chuckled after hearing you rule. For the sake of everyone, folks, let's not do this. Let's just be happy with the knowledge that when you enter your local Burger King, you do indeed rule.
You sure about that?
First time here? Well, you don't need to be a king to hit that subscribe button, so go ahead and smash it. Thanks. Now more BK no-nos.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Don't let your kids order for themselves.
Oh, I want kids. I really want kids.
For those who happen to have kids, it's a never-ending, thankless job. Parents fully accept this fact and embrace it, but this doesn't make the job any easier. Waking those little kiddies up every morning, making them breakfast, and packing their lunch before getting them off to school can be about as stress-inducing as anything. And when it comes to meals, let's face it, kids are probably the pickiest humans on the planet. With that said, there likely isn't a kid out there that doesn't love fast food. And for parents, your local Burger King can be a lifesaver. A quick and relatively cheap meal that has your kid's name written all over it is exactly the kind of stress reliever that comes to the rescue after a grueling workday. And Burger King is one of the favorites when it comes to the kids.
I don't eat all those fat, delicious childrens.
However, when you enter your local Burger King, you may be inclined to let your child order their own meal. After all, they can dress themselves, so a simple meal order should be perfectly reasonable for them to take on. Yeah, not so so much. Of course, this is a recipe for disaster. Putting your indecisive small kids in front of the item-filled menu will result in either your child becoming intimidated by both the menu and the cashier, ordering something that isn't on the menu, or changing their minds at the last minute. They're kids, after all. BK employees don't really have time for you to let your kids show you how grown up they are by making their own orders. Make the order for them and save those poor BK employees the potential headache.
You sound like a kid yourself.
Don't point out the similarities between BK and McDonald's.
We are not the same.
As mentioned earlier, Burger King and McDonald's are pretty similar. Both burger chains have fun and colorful mascots, catchy slogans, and marketing that have undergone changes over the years to keep up with changing times and their overall modern burger chain aesthetic. And the similarities extend to their menus as well, which makes perfect sense, as rival franchises will always try to outdo one another by offering up a superior version of the other's product. This isn't exactly a secret, as most who have eaten at Burger King can take one quick look at the menu, see the Big King, and realize what's going on. With that said, going into your local Burger King and saying something like, the Big King is just a Big Mac wannabe, or your chicken sandwich is pretty much the McChicken, is not what you want to point out to the BK employee taking your order.
What don't you want?
Unfortunately, this is a problem that Burger King employees have to put up with more regularly than you'd expect. Perhaps because McDonald's has been the #1 burger chain across the globe for so long, folks feel the need to point out any similarities they find. Whatever the reason behind this, BK employees don't want to hear this, are not impressed, or just don't care, and just want you to make your order. They're just there to do their job. Maybe next time, keep that in mind, rather than inform your cashier that the Big King is just a Whopper wearing a Big Mac Party City Halloween costume. You're likely the only one that cares.
Just eat it and shut up.
Don't order these items.
Well, I recommend you don't open a store and sell them.
The Burger King menu is one of the most iconic in all of fast food. Most BK fanatics out there could point to just about anything on the menu and claim it to be their all-time favorite. Whether it's the world-famous Whopper, a croissant sandwich, or a Big King, the BK menu has always sported some big-time goodness. Yes, it's safe to say that the loyal Burger King clientele are quite pleased with the menu. However, with the good comes the bad. There are a select few items on the BK menu that are less desirable than others. For example, the Halloween Whopper, while a limited-time item and a cool idea, on paper anyway, may seem fun and tasty, comes with a rather unpleasant side effect. If you haven't heard, the Halloween Whopper will leave your toilet bowl green.
I think this is just the poop line.
Also, when it comes to Whoppers, the junior version of the classic sandwich is usually not one of the freshest items on the menu. Another BK menu item that most fans tend to avoid are the chicken nuggets. Suffice it to say that BK nuggets are nowhere near the quality of McDonald's Chicken McNuggets, which aren't exactly the highest quality of chicken nugget on the fast food market to begin with. BK nuggets tend to be a bit on the spongy side for most customers' tastes. And finally, we come to BK's grilled chicken sandwich. On the surface, the grilled chicken sandwich seems fine and looks tasty enough. However, the sandwich simply lacks flavor, is on the dry side, and has an artificial quality to it. Do yourself a favor and avoid these items, or throw caution to the wind and knock yourself out. Totally up to you.
Don't say I didn't warn you.
Don't hold up the line.
We've been standing here forever.
Most restaurants, fast food joints in particular, tend to get rather busy, especially around lunch and dinner time. The dreaded dinner and lunch rush can see a massive influx of customers entering fast food lobbies searching for that juicy lunchtime burger or a pack of crispy dinner nuggets. Furthermore, when it comes to the mega chains like Burger King, those lunch and dinner rushes can get exceptionally busy. With that in mind, the last thing in the world that the BK staff want to deal with is a customer holding up the line. This only serves to cause a number of problems, like enraging the customers unfortunate enough to be at the back of the line and angering the staff who have no choice but to wait for you.
Order!
order? Cheeseburger, please.
Holding up the line is just about the worst thing a customer can do in any setting. However, when the situation involves hungry customers who have to get back to work before their lunch break is over or simply want to order, eat, and leave, it's made even worse. Whether you want to engage your BK cashier in mundane conversation or you happen to be one of those folks asking silly questions, let's just keep the conversations brief, order your food, and move on. Don't worry, the Burger King staff won't be offended if you don't spend 10 minutes asking them how their day was going. If you're swift, their shift is going just fine.
Order! Order, I say!
Don't leave a mess without alerting the staff.
You're a mess. I'm a mess.
Sitting down to have a nice meal at your local Burger King can be a fun experience. Enjoying your Whopper with your family or sitting down to a fresh batch of onion rings by yourself is all well and good. Now, most of us will gather our trash and belongings and toss that trash in the garbage bin before leaving. However, this isn't always the case. Unfortunately for BK staff, there are occasions when customers have finished their meal and left the building but have left a massive mess behind. These messes can include leftover food, drink cups, and used napkins. If that's not bad enough, sometimes the mess can include a giant puddle of the customer's soft drink of choice under the table, on the table, or both. Of course, we're all human and accidents are bound to happen.
You were an accident!
But leaving without letting staff know about your mess is just plain rude, and BK staff have to deal with this more often than they should. As stated earlier, working at Burger King is not an easy job. Having to deal with the many challenging issues is bad enough, but also having to clean up a mess left by a thoughtless, careless customer is nobody's idea of a good time. The folks who work at your local BK are people too and deserve your respect, if nothing else. So keep that in mind the next time you spill your drink all over the table. Be kind enough to at least let them know what happened before you head for the exit. Or you could go that extra mile and clean your mess. Either way, the BK staff will appreciate it.
As long as we get paid.
Don't change your order after you've already paid.
What do you really want, Daddy?
What every king wants.
When you walk into a Burger King and take a look at the menu, you're definitely going to have plenty of options. From the various Whopper iterations to the chicken sandwich options, just to name a few, Burger King customers have more than enough selection to choose from. However, with such numerous options, this can occasionally lead to a customer being indecisive. You may notice that the Angry Whopper is back on the menu and decide that that's what you want. So you place that Angry Whopper order, pay, but then have a sudden change of heart. Now you inform the BK cashier that you want to change your order. This kind of last-minute order change causes a handful of problems. First off, it's not easy to cancel or change an order once it's been placed in the system, though the BK staff may make it appear so.
You make it look so easy.
It's time-consuming and an extra added headache that the staff really could do without. Furthermore, this "on second thought, I want something else" after paying is also related to that "don't hold up the line" rule. The customers unfortunate enough to be behind the indecisive individual now have to wait even longer to place their order, and those folks likely know exactly what they're about to order. The fact is, we're all human and capable of succumbing to the occasional change of mind. However, unless you're okay with your local BK staff becoming irritable and possibly confrontational, not that that's okay, do yourself a favor and stick to your original order. The folks waiting at the back of the line thank you in advance.
Let's just order.
Don't get angry when you can't pay with $100 bills.
Then you can't afford to pay him anything.
Back before everybody started purchasing products with Apple Pay or debit, folks used to use this stuff called cash. Joking aside, most of us nowadays really don't use cash to pay for things. Of course, this does not mean that there aren't people out there who continue to use cash, and that's perfectly fine. However, if and when you do decide to pay with cash, make sure you have acceptable bills. Most businesses simply won't accept bills higher than $20, and Burger King is no exception.
Or pay 1,000 gold coins.
So if you happen to be Mr. or Mrs. Moneybags and want to pay for your $11 Whopper combo with a $100 bill, this won't be met kindly. Having to break such a large bill is not only a headache for BK staff, but it also falls in line with the "don't hold up the line" rule. Again, you risk angering both the staff and the folks unfortunate enough to be at the back of the line. So if you happen to be one of those customers who carry the large bills, do yourself a favor and maybe break the bill before you go to Burger King for lunch. Don't worry about impressing the staff. They'll try to get on with their day without being bedazzled by your wealth.
Minimum wage is maximum fun.
Not speaking loud enough into the drive-thru speaker.
This woman's a low talker. I can't hear a word she's saying.
One of the greatest fast food innovations is undoubtedly the drive-thru window. This wonderful invention gave busy commuters a chance to dine and go, and gave folks who want to enjoy their food at home a quick and easy solution, because who wants to get out of the car? Furthermore, the drive-thru managed to increase fast food business, and the mega chains, such as Burger King, are definitely fine with that. To be honest, you'd be hard-pressed to find a fast food lover who has some sort of issue with the drive-thru, other than the fact that it can be a bit hard to hear the BK staff while at the drive-thru speaker.
Huh? What? Oh. Okay.
That goes both ways. You may comment on how listening to the drive-thru teller is sometimes like listening to an old-school static radio, and you'd be right.
Huh?
If you don't speak up while placing your order, the BK staff, or any fast food staff for that matter, will have just as much of a hard time hearing you. The speakers are good, but not that good. Speak up, fast food fanatics, otherwise you may end up with something other than what you ordered.
Good enough.
Don't go too far with the Have It Your Way franchise slogan.
I'll do things my way.
Fans of Burger King, and well, pretty much everybody, is familiar with the chain's famous slogan, Have It Your Way. The franchise has always prided itself on making sure the customers have a dining experience that is indeed their way. With that said, some customers take this slogan a bit too far.
That's not what I meant.
Asking for inappropriate favors, asking for an ingredient you know isn't on the menu, and other things of that nature, and then saying, "But I thought I could have it my way," after being denied is funny only to you. The only thing that you can have your way is your meal. Just make a real order and let the BK staff do their jobs. As mentioned earlier, let's leave the comedy to the professionals, shall we?
Am I accidentally being funny?
Don't make BK employees angry. May result in a slightly moist burger.
Your Majesty, here's a bucket on the house.
Listen, you may not realize it, but working at Burger King isn't an easy job. Whether you're at the counter, working the cash register, working the grill or the fryer, or taking orders at the drive-thru window, the job is anything but easy. Combine the rigorous, fast-paced environment along with a paycheck that leaves much to be desired, and you're left with a group of employees that deserves both respect and gratitude. So with that being said, you'd be surprised how often the average BK employee experiences less than ideal treatment. However, before you decide to give that overworked, underpaid, and underappreciated BK employee a hard time, you may want to bite your tongue just a bit. That is, of course, unless you enjoy getting a Whopper that's a lot juicier than normal. Yes, while unfortunate and just plain disgusting, there have been occasions where BK employees, having been pushed too far, have served up various BK menu items with a large order of saliva.
Ugh! Wrong order!
In fact, in 2010, a Madison Heights Burger King employee took to Facebook to share the news that he had just spat in a customer's food. This boast resulted in the employee losing his job and jail time. This instance was apparently without cause and just for laughs, which is not cool. But other spit-related instances have been a result of a customer's poor treatment toward employees. Uncalled for? Absolutely. There's absolutely no justification for spitting in a customer's food. However, there's no justification for treating your local BK employee like utter garbage. Just keep this in mind the next time you pull up to a Burger King drive-thru in a bad mood and ready to pounce. You might get more than you bargained for.
You ain't tasted the last of my spit.
We've got more great videos that we think you'll love, so go ahead and just tap or click. And hey, leave us a comment.